Okay, so section one, communicating with calendar in Gmail. The agenda for this section is really simple. We want to look at the calendar feature with Google. We want to talk about adding events and using the calendar effectively, really, making sure we're accepting those invitations so they appear on our calendar, and even using stuff like an email signature with Google and also like basic Gmail functions. So let's start with the calendar feature. Um, a lot of us are probably involved in a lot of different ways, whether it's maybe a local nonprofit or maybe we host a business and we have volunteers. So this is one way that we can help keep everyone in sync. There's all kinds of different ways to do this, and this is just one. Like in our office, we use Outlook. But here we're going to learn of a completely free example, which is through Google Suite. So first thing you have to do anytime you're going to use any of these Google products is sign into your account. Google accounts are free, so you can go online and set them up. Once you sign in, you have access to all of the Google applications. This ranges from Sheets to Docs and Slides. There's even a Google Drive where you can keep documents. There's a photo application where you can store your photos. And then, of course, you also have email through Gmail. In this section, we're going to focus on the calendar, though. So the best area to look for what your options are when it comes to Google is those 9 dots in the corner. That's where you'll see a list of everything, and then you can hit Google Calendar. Once you get in this module, you'll see several different calendars already in there. These will usually come pre-filled. So you'll usually have your name, your birthdays, any reminders or tasks, and then other calendars like holidays in the US. But you can also create calendars. Once you get into that section, this is what it looks like, and you just hit that button. Now, once we click it and get into it, this is where you can type a name of what it is and have a description, make sure you have the right time zone, and hit create. So in this example, we're creating a volunteer calendar, and this is kind of the test story that we're going to use throughout this section of using this volunteer calendar and sharing it with people and making sure everyone understands. So once we get our calendar set up, we want to make sure we add an event. These events are things like meetings, maybe we want everyone to come together and learn about something that we have coming up, or maybe we're actually going to volunteer somewhere. Best thing to do is probably change it to month view. You do this in the top right-hand corner, and you just hit month. Once you get in there, you just find the date of something you want to add. You type in the title of the event. You add your start and end time, put in a description, and then hit save and share. Now, however, there's an important thing to remember that people sometimes get confused on, and that's making sure you select the right calendar because we want to put it on our volunteer calendar. And we even put in emails underneath the date and time, so that way we can share it with those people automatically. So this is a really cool feature because you can have multiple calendars set up. So maybe you have a staff calendar. Okay, now you have a volunteer calendar. Or you could even have one where you communicate with your customers and you share the event with them. This is where you edit the calendar's share settings. So some people like these calendars to be completely public. Some want it only with specific people. So you do that by hitting the 3 dots to the right of the calendar. And then you hit settings and sharing. And then you can change access permissions or share with specific people. This is an example of what that section looks like. And then you can even go a step further to choose like how much you want people to see. So on this side, like maybe I'm sharing it with my staff and I only want them to know that I'm busy. So you would select the first option. You would hide all the details. Maybe it is a fairly open public calendar and you just want them to see all the event details. You want them to know where you're going to be. And then you can even, if like maybe you have an assistant, you can even allow them to make changes to events. So that way you don't have to manage the calendar. They can help you. And from here, you can just keep adding additional events. You just select another date, add a title, invite more guests. You can even add an option to meet over Google Video. That's just like what we're doing now on Zoom, but it's built into the Google Suite. So that kind of covers the calendar portion. And like I said at the beginning of this, we're starting simple and we're working our way up because we want to make sure the content is relevant for everyone. So this is the most basic thing we thought we could start with to really give someone maybe some new knowledge, or a lot of you probably already use this every day. But these are just some added tips or tricks to make sure that we're using our calendars effectively. The next section we're going to go into is about receiving and accepting invitations in Gmail. Every email client has a different way of doing this. Me in my role, I get invites to all kinds of meetings and events, and they come into my email. And you want to make sure when you see these notifications, like you see here, that you're hitting accept and yes to the invitation. And that automatically is going to go and add it to your calendar. So that way you can find it. And also, if you have it set up correctly, like I said, we could share that calendar with our staff. We could share it with volunteers. So that way people know where we'll be and when. There's also, so to do this, you go to Gmail. Same thing, 9 dots, top right-hand corner. You'll click the Google Apps menu, click Gmail. Once you're inside Gmail, you can do all kinds of things like composing an email. You just hit the compose button, type in the recipient. You have 2 options for CC or BCC. CC means carbon copy. So that means you want to share this with someone. You might use this as an example of you're running late for work. You're going to email your manager, but you want to carbon copy one of your coworkers so they know that you're also going to be late. The BCC, it blind carbon copies. So that means you're going to, for example, I might be sending an email to a chamber member and I want Danielle to know that I'm sending it. So I might blind carbon copy her on it so she can see that I've sent that email. And then you always want to make sure you have a good subject and message. And then always make sure you use the spell check feature just to make sure that everything looks good. That's something important, and sometimes we're just in a rush and we just forget about it. Next thing we're going to go over is creating an email signature. This is probably the #1 question I get asked from different people because every program works a little bit differently. Google makes it pretty easy to do. You open settings, you scroll down to signature, and then you type your different contact information. And the videos on the screen is really going to show. So it's just in that general section, scroll down, and you will see signature. And then from there, you can start typing. So you put your name, maybe your title, where you work, any kind of contact info you might have, like a phone number or an email. And then once you get done with that, you'll continue scrolling to the bottom and hit Save Changes. And then you have an email signature that's going to come up every time. All right, so we're going to recap what we just went over. We went over Google Calendar. We talked about creating calendars, creating events, sharing those events. We also talked about Gmail. We talked about accepting those invitations, making an email signature. We also talked about composing emails briefly, and then how to use the different CC, BCC stuff. And there's tons of apps that you can use on Google. There's forms where you can create surveys. There's slides where you can do presentations. Like I said, you have the meet feature where you can meet with people just like we're doing now, like a video call. And then there's even sites that you can use to make your own websites. So this was like the most basic part of what we're going to teach today. I will stop here for just a second to see if anyone has any questions of what we went over before we go into section 2. So any questions, you can just put them in chat. Cool. Okay, I'm going to keep moving forward. So this is really an important thing that I wanted to cover, which is reaching customers with Google. So Google offers tons of different ways to do this, but we're going to start with the simplest one. Let's really think about it. You're looking for something, and how do you find it? The answer is Google. Maybe you're trying to find a new hairdresser, or you're looking for someone to go and clean your house, or maybe even do some construction stuff for you. You're going to most likely Google it. And this is really important because over the last couple years, there's been an 80% growth for the search of local plus businesses. And this is just year over year. People are constantly looking for local businesses near me, and they're probably even typing in keywords like local contractor near me, local computer repair place near me. So you want to make sure that everything you have on Google is up to date. And there's a 50% increase on how to save money. And it can be on any topic after that. So this section, we're really going to focus on reaching customers with Google search, reaching customers with a Google business profile, reaching customers with Google Ads, and then we're going to go over a recap. So first thing is reaching customers with Google search. So it all starts with a search. We go to the browser, we start typing things in. Like I said, whatever we're looking for, hairdresser, contractor, it doesn't matter. Once you hit enter on that search, three things usually pop up. You're going to have ads at the top. You'll have your search results underneath that. And to the right, you might have a business profile. A lot of times we just don't pay attention to these different blocks as you see. There's kind of three sections on your screen, but all of it is the different information that Google is pulling for us. And how does that kind of work? Behind the scenes, Google is looking and cataloging everything on the internet. They're indexing it basically like a library. But instead of like our local library that has an index of all the books they have, Google has something about 10 trillion times larger, where it takes everything together and it makes it to where it can find it in a couple seconds. And these search results look really differently. I'm sure y'all have noticed this, whether maybe we're in Warrenton, Georgia versus Atlanta, Georgia. We're going to get completely different search results with the exact same keyword because it takes all kinds of different common denominators to spit out the search results sections. So we kind of talked about how there's the center of the page where all those search results appear. And there's no clear way to say like how they're getting all this info. Google doesn't share that with us. They don't share like the formula, but they say there's 200 signals that are coming into play. So there's 200 different pieces of information that they're pulling from our websites, from people and different things to create the search results. In this example, we're going to use a case study of Trade Street Jam Co. And we're kind of going to talk about their journey when it comes to Google search. The most important thing with search when it comes to your website is SEO, which is search engine optimization. It's the process of making things easier for the search engines to find. By doing this, it helps make your website more visible. It connects you with consumers. It also increases potential sales. The easiest ways to do this, and there's going to be several examples as we go through the content, but is making sure we publish really good content that's useful and accurate, even as simple as making sure your address is the same everywhere. If your address is listed in a couple different ways, it's going to flag SEO as a negative. Make sure that all your web pages have good titles and descriptions, and also be organized with your content so that way Google can understand. Some other ways that you can help is when you're building your website or you're building your social media or anything like that is you look at Google Trends. This is an example for boba. You can type in anything and you can see the popularity. You can see what's trending. You can look for patterns. So like, for example, if I type in Main Street Warrenton, it might give me examples of what else people might be searching that's similar. For example, last time I literally typed in that thing, Valdosta Main Street came up and Tifton Main Street came up because people who were typing in that were typing in those other terms. So it gives you relative ideas of how to market better based on trends. And it's really easy to do. You open a web browser window and you visit g.co/trends. You can enter all kinds of words and phrases. You can look for specific locations. You can adjust the date ranges, and then you can explore those queries related to that information. So, for example, if someone had a contracting business, you might search some of those terms like we talked about, local contracting company, and see what comes up and see how else you should be advertising your business. Also, you want to make sure that you have good technical improvements on your site. It needs to load very fast. It needs to be designed for all browsers and devices. And there's a really good guide that Google has created at SEO Starter Guide, which really goes over everything. So that way you can make sure that everything is up to date. Another tool that they have is also the Search Console. You can confirm how Google is looking at your site. So you can go to this address, type in your website, and it'll actually give you all kinds of data around your website and the search and everything. All right, next, we're going to take just a moment, and I want, if some of y'all are able to, why don't you go to google.com, and I want you to search for a word surrounding your business, just as an example. So for example, like I'm the Warren County Chamber of Commerce, I might just search Chamber of Commerce. Do you show up? How does it look? And if you don't, what sites do show up? What does it look like? I just want you to take notice of that. So we're going to take like 2 minutes to do that. So I'll give y'all 2 minutes to open Google and just search for that. And you can type your results in the comments, since the question is yes or no. So when you search for your business with whatever term you used, if it showed up, put yes in chat. If it didn't show up, put no. All right, cool. I got one yes in chat. Do we have any others? Any other yes or no's? Search any kind of term that would be surrounding your business. So for example, if you were a computer place, you might search computer repair. If you were an insurance salesman, you might search insurance near me. And just curious if you show up, yes or no. Cool. Okay, cool. So we got some yeses, we got some nos. So if it was a yes, you're probably doing good. Just want to make sure everything looks right. If it's a no, we need to look at your SEO and how can we improve that. The next section might actually help some people's SEO, is using your Google business profile. This is that block over to the right that we see sometimes when we pull up businesses. And this is something that you can control a lot better. You do this by going to google.com/business, or you can even try to specifically Google like your business and see if you come up and if it needs to be claimed. But we'll get more into that. And then once you're logged into this portal, you have a lot of options. For those who aren't aware, it's kind of like, let's say, Facebook-y, where you have all these options and things that you can put on your profile. There's reviews, there's messages, you can add photos, you can have booking information if you wanted people to book appointments and all of that. And the more info you put here, the better, because then Google is helping to improve your SEO because it's linking back to you in different ways and it has more information about you. So examples, you can do posts just like you can on like a Facebook page, and you can talk about different products that you have. You can reply to your reviews, so that way your customers feel more appreciated. And you can even turn on a messaging feature so people can message you directly from Google with their Google account, and you can reply to them. Now, the next steps for this section, and we're going to go way into more details this on section 3, is you go to google.com/business. You're going to either claim or create a profile. You have to do a verification. This will be through phone, text, email, a video call, or even they'll send you a postcard in the mail. And then once you put in that verification code, it'll allow you to edit that profile. The last section we're going to talk about with reaching people through Google is through Google Ads. And Google Ads is a way to actually pay to get people to see your content in that top log. The first thing we're going to do, though, is watch a video about this.
We can't hear it, Jeffrey.
I'm trying to fix it. Can y'all hear it now?
Seriously, I dream about flavors.
Yeah.
Trade Street Jam Company makes low sugar vegan jams for pretty much everything under the sun. Honey, do you know how many things you can do with this jam? You can make cocktails, you can put on roasted meats or veggies, oatmeal. The uses are endless. I've been a chef for about 15 years. I needed something fun to do after work. I'm not a big TV watcher. I would stop at this store on the way home, grab a bunch of fruit, anything weird and exotic that they had, and I start cooking. I start jamming. Too much? You don't like the punch? You like the bananas, honey? Yeah. My husband is my test dummy, I guess you can say.
More?
You like mommy's cooking? When I started Trade Street, I was selling on another e-commerce platform, and we were also selling a lot of jam in person. But COVID hit and all the markets shut down, which freaked me out. I'm already scared about being a new mommy. And then on top of that, I'm worried about the life of my business. People started ordering specialty food online, so we immediately had to pivot and focus all my efforts on selling online. When people go on Google and they search jam or jelly, I want them to be able to find my brand. With Google Ads, they can type those things in and I pop up. You guys, that's huge. Being able to sell on our website, it really did save us. I couldn't imagine going back to not using Google products. We went from making 2,000 jars every 2 months to making 2,000 jars every 2 weeks. Our sales increased by 1,000%. It was crazy. I've hired 4 or 5 different contractors. Hiring feels amazing. I think it's so important for our product to have a story behind it. I think when people see a woman behind the brand, a person of color, it just really adds something to that jar other than jam. Oh, you kiss mommy, you kissing mommy. I want Zola to be able to grow up and look at me and say, my mom did that. I wouldn't trade that for the world.
Okay, cool. So now we're going to keep moving forward. All right, so the ads, we already kind of talked about the 3 boxes and the ads appear at the top. So this is where you have 100% control because you're paying to put it there. And the ads, they don't have to be crazy. I've seen people advertise in Google Ads for $25, and it just helps, especially if you target it really specific. You can reach people very specific. So if you notice that, let's just say, for example, your top customer is a male in their late 50s and lives in Evans. You could target an ad to that. You can dig down into it, and then you can track and measure the success of it. And then as you grow and change, you can of course change your ad marketing strategy. So all this starts by going to the Google Ads section, and you just hit the Start Now button. And there's a really simple checklist of what you need to do when it comes to it. You need to decide whatever the goal is, what action do you want people to take? This could be going to your website. This could be calling you. You want to connect your Google business profile, or you're going to have to type in all your business info. You want to identify the web page that you want to send people to when it comes to that ad. You want to write a compelling ad because a lot of it is text-based. And then you want to choose keyword themes and locations where the ad can appear, and then set that budget. So for example, the budget might be $25, $5 a day over a week, and you see what you get out of it, and then you launch that ad. It's pretty easy to get set up in this. Like you see here, you just type in Trade Street Jamco. You'll hit next. They're going to know your website or the place that you want them to go after they click the ad. And then Google's going to start showing you examples of what that ad might look like using your website content, and then it might ask you to write some things. And then you're going to get into an advertising goal. So like I mentioned before, you can get more calls. I want more sales or leads. I want people to come to our physical location. And then if you were a YouTuber, you could say, I want people to engage with my YouTube videos. You're going to write a couple headlines and a couple descriptions, so that way they can kind of rotate them. And then if you're going to do a calling ad, you would type in your phone number that people could reach you at. Then we talked about the different keywords and themes that we're going to show. So you can put all kinds of different information in here. You name it, there's a keyword for it. And then Google will provide you suggestions. A lot of these suggestions come from Google Trends. So you're typing in this and it's giving you suggestions based on similar topics. Once you get through that, you can select your location. This, of course, is around New York where that business was based, but you could do Warrenton, Georgia, maybe set it at 15 miles around. And then you can even type in zip code, cities, or even like regions. And then once you get to the end, you're going to select a budget. So like if you see here, the top option is $2.80 per day, and it's going to give you like an $85 monthly max. And they estimated for this specific ad that you were going to get 40 to 110 ad clicks each month. Now every ad is unique, so each one of those you're going to get different results. This one's just an example. And then of course, if you, hey, let's say you run an ad and you get 500 people at your door and you feel like you need to pause for a second, you can just log in and pause it at any time. So that way you can take a break. Once you get that ad running, you can review the campaign and you can edit different information. Maybe you notice you're getting a lot of calls for one of your secondary products, so you want to kind of change the ad a little bit to shift people. You can go in anytime and do that. And then you're, of course, got to set up your billing to make payments. Most of the time with Google, since they're so automated, they're either going to credit or a debit card, so that way they can make those charges. So once you get through all this, you can create different ad variations. You can add negative keyword themes. So like, I don't want these people. So maybe you sell boats, but you don't sell a specific kind of boat. So you put that specific kind in there, so that way people can't, who are looking for that, it doesn't show up for them. Because in theory, you really don't want to waste your money like that. You can even schedule your ads to appear on certain days or specific times of the day. So for example, if you're running an ad where you want more foot traffic, you probably don't want people seeing that at 2 in the morning because you're closed. So you can tailor that to where they only see the ads during a specific time. You can also connect like Google Analytics if you use that software to track how the ad's going, and then based on your website, so you see how it's working. And then you just need to monitor performance and then of course edit or pause it. Okay, so to recap this section, we talked about a text ad at the top. We talked about that search result area. And then we talked about the business profile. And don't get too worried on the business profile because we're about to go that into a lot of detail with it. You want to make sure that you're monitoring your website's presence on Google. And remember, you can do this with g.co/search console. You want to make sure you're managing your business info and your free business profile on google.com/business. And then if you want to take a step into using ads, ads.google.com. And if you need any help with that, we would be happy to do some basic advising just to give you some ideas and thoughts. So as a business, you need to take a few moments maybe after this, and I'm going to send out some handouts, like I said, so they'll have maybe some questions and ideas on there. But you need to think about what you're going to do with this info to grow your business and your online presence, and make sure that you're taking action. And of course, we always like to showcase the resources from each section. So if you're watching the recorded video, you can pause it here. And these are some different areas that you can go and look up, and that might help you, whether it's looking at your SEO, whether it's managing that business profile, or even using Grow with Google or Google Career Certificates to learn more. Now, at this time, we're actually going to pause for a second and we're going to take a break because we've been talking for like 40 minutes. So everyone, if you need to go get a glass of water, go use the restroom real quick. Because when we come back, this one's going to be the longest section. We're going to talk about using that Google business profile and then using Google Maps. And that's going to take up the rest of our time. And it's going to be pretty in depth. So if everyone wants to take just like a 5-minute break, so we'll be back at 2:43. It is 2:43, so we're going to move right into the next section. I just want to make sure if everyone is back. If so, just say something in chat so we can make sure everyone's here before we keep going. Cool. Got one. All right, we're going to move into section 3. Get your local business on Google Search and Maps. And this is really going to dive into what is a Google business profile, how to create a business profile, and then how to manage that business info. And then we'll also, at the end, just like each section, talk about a few resources that might help. So first, we're going to start with a little short video before we dive into this section.
Mother of 2 children, and I was for 9 years. And then one day I said, you know what, I want to go back to work and start my own company. I became a licensed contractor and I started Detroit Postage. It was a great opportunity for people to see a woman of color doing something that was totally outside of the box. I always ask my customers, what made you call me? And oftentimes they're telling me, oh, we reached out to you because of your business profile on Google. Having a Google profile has had a wonderful impact on my business because it puts me in front of new customers daily. It's a great way to have everything in one central location where the customer can see exactly what you do. Everything is just listed there easily for them to find. The reviews are there, and those reviews are worth their weight in gold. Customers get to understand what type of experience other customers have had with us. When the customer leaves a review, I always respond to their review. It's very important to let the customer know that you care about them. The insights that Google provides are great because I know what customers are interacting with us and from where. And so I know exactly how to speak to the customer because I know where they're coming from and what they will probably. One of the things that surprised me about having a profile on Google was the new customers that I was able to attract and interact with. There's a lot of traffic that comes from Google, so it's important to have it. My hopes and dreams for my business would definitely be being able to create opportunities for other people. You know, it's an honor to be able to serve my community and to leave a legacy for my family.
Okay, so it was a great example of a business who was utilizing the Google Business Profile. So in the last section, we kind of talked about it, but in this one, we're really going to go into it in depth because we felt like with this whole webinar series, we were starting basic, we were going into kind of medium info. Now we're really going to dive into the weeds and we're going to learn everything. So a Google Business Profile should contain all of your information. So it'll have your name. You can upload photos and videos. You can have different links like call you, the directions, the website. You want to make sure that that address is up to date and it definitely matches whatever is on your website. You're going to want to have correct hours there that you update often. And then also you want to have your phone number listed. If you have a 1-800 number, cool. If you don't, just make sure you have your local number so people can call you. Then when people are searching your business, just like this one as Detroit Voltage, you can see they come up at the top as the very first search result, but to the right, you see their Google Business Profile. This is where you'll see the reviews, you can ask questions, and it has all kinds of information that can be helpful for you. And then it shows it in a different way because when I search something on Google, I don't know about y'all, the first thing I look at is the search results, but then it's almost like my eye naturally travels over to that Google Business Profile. So it is a good tool to use to attract new customers and get new businesses. Also, by having this Google Business Profile, you're also going to show up on Google Maps. So when people are searching for different things or in your community, maybe they can see you on the map. And this is really helpful especially if you're in a more congested area, because you can kind of choose where the pin goes. So you can make sure they understand where your business is. Especially if we're looking at the example, you can see all those different pins. So that's a building with multiple businesses. So we want to make sure the pin is in the most accurate location for us. So like in that one, I would just say that that pin hopefully is where the door is to enter that business. And these things show up across all devices, whether you're on the phone, you're on a computer or laptop, or even if you're on an iPad. You want to make sure that all of these different things are updated so that way everyone has access to it, no matter what device they're using. And this is a good tool because it's so applicable to so many different devices. And whether you're using Apple or Android or anything, everyone can see your business. So to go into more in depth on how to create the profile, we talked about you go to google.com/mybusiness. And there's several different ways you can do it. Is you can sign in and start managing. You can also search for your address and then click add your business. You can click on the 3 lines on the menu and add your business that way. You can also right click on the map and click add your business. There's a lot of different ways to do it. And then sometimes when I spoke about this briefly earlier, if you Google like your very specific business name, like Warren County Chamber of Commerce, you can hit claim my page. That's another way to do it. So they give you a lot of different options to make sure that you get to the final product of managing your Google business profile. Once you get into this process, of course, you have to sign into your Google account. If you don't have one, it's completely free to make one. Then you can find or add your business. You can put in your business category from a drop-down list, and then you'll just hit next. And then it's going to ask you a lot of questions that are applicable. An example is, do you have a location customers visit? Yes. If you check no, okay, it's an online business or it's somewhere, maybe you're a consultant and so your principal location is your house. So you want people to find you, but you don't necessarily want them coming to you. If you answer yes to that question, it's going to ask you for your address. Like I mentioned earlier, for SEO, you want to make sure that it's the same address that's listed on your website, also the same address that's on your Facebook. And then from there, you can keep answering different questions. So this one revolves around a service area. So what areas do you serve? How far away do you want Google to like pick up that this is where you want to do business? So for example, if you're in Thompson, you want to probably make sure that Warrenton's in this area because we want to be included in your service area. And that really just depends on your business. If you're a business located in Augusta that serves the entire CSRA, you want to make sure that that's up to date and as broad as possible for what you need. The next step will be putting in different contact info. This will be your website URL or your phone number. There is a checkbox there if you don't have a website, and if that's a struggle that you have, be sure to reach out to us. We can help you with that, whether it's us making the website or just kind of guiding you, or in a few weeks, we'll have a webinar on basics of web design if you something that you think you want to do yourself. Now, Google always verifies businesses. They don't just let you post on there. So they're going to verify you in some way, shape, or form. And it really depends on your business, how that's going to happen. I've seen it happen a million different ways. It can be a phone call where they're going to call your business phone number. It might be a text message where they text your cell phone. It could just be an email and they feel like it's good to go. And then sometimes they make you do a postcard where they're actually going to mail you something in the mail. And you're going to have to enter that code in a few days. If you have to do the mailing verification message, they're going to ask you again for an address. So that way you can put in the address where you want to receive it. This could be maybe to your house. If you don't think it'll be good to get it at your business location. This is an example of what I was talking about where they're waiting for you to get verified. It can take up to like 14 days, but in the meantime, you can still work on filling out your profile, get everything ready to go so that the second you get that code, you can complete the verification and it'll instantly appear once you put it in the code. So once you get verified, you get all your info put in, you're going to need to manage that info because we all have information that changes from time to time. So you do this just like a profile. You have your reviews, your messages, all your photos, the performance of how your business page's performance. And then if you notice up here in the right corner, it gives you a profile strength. And if you click the complete info under that, it'll actually tell you the things that it suggests for you to do. It's also a good idea to just post updates about your business. You know, maybe you launch a new line of products. So you want to share that with your customer base. The top things that you need to make sure are always up to date are your name, any categories, especially if your business changes or grows, a good description of what you do so people can understand. You want to have your location, especially if you move, you want to change that. That's probably the number one occurrence of why people lose business is because they move locations, but they don't actually update any of the addresses online. You always want to have correct hours, even if you're just closing early, you can go online and update it and say, I'm closing early today. So that way people can find it. Google also added a way to showcase different attributes about your business, whether it's veteran-owned, Black-owned, or women-owned. There's several different options that you can choose, so that way people who feel that is an important thing that they want to shop with or work with that kind of business, you can identify that so they can find you even easier. Also, Google has some different things to help you. One of them is for people who maybe do like more retail. It's called Pointy. It gives you tips and tricks, and it helps you add products to Google so that way people can see right on your Google business profile like what you sell and what you do. Also, what's helpful is to add photos. Research has found that 90% of customers are more likely to come to your business that has photos. And that's because let's just imagine for a second, you're going to a new town, you want to eat at a restaurant, let's say it's Italian. If there's 2 or 3 restaurants with photos and good descriptions and all that, and one of them that doesn't have any info or photos, you're most likely going to eat at one of the ones that you can see pictures of the place, you know, maybe even some ideas of what the food looks like. And that's just us being good customers trying to find the best possible outcome that we can have. So some tips for good photos: make sure the image is well lit, decent quality. You want to highlight your features or your product or your brand. In one of the photos, you should definitely have a logo of your business, and you can even put videos. They can only be up to 30 seconds though. And they accept pretty much everything. They'll take a JPEG or a PNG. It can be 10 kilobytes all the way up to 5 megabytes, which is fairly large. And the recommended resolution is 720 tall by 720 wide pixels. If you're unsure about that, you can just upload a photo and 99% of them it will take. I mentioned this earlier, but you can post updates about your business. So for example, here it's summertime and they want to advertise that, you know, they can help with that, maybe by installing a ceiling fan. So they're going to post an update about that. They're going to want a call now button on there so people can reach out, and then they put a like social media style graphic on there so that people can find them. So different post examples could be a update. So there they posted about a heat wave coming up. You could post different offers. So like for this week only, we're going to have free shipping. And you can even post events that are coming up. So on January 7th there, they were having a sipping clip, which was a workshop. So these are a couple ideas that you can do for your business and utilize your profile a little more effectively. You can also connect with your customers in a different way. Everyone who has a Google business profile, your customers can leave reviews. It's a good idea to read those and then definitely respond to your customers. You can also accept messages if that's something you want to do, and you can read and respond to those on there. And then you can have a question and answer section. It's really cool to put different questions. Well, your customers can ask questions and you can answer them, but you can also put different information in there. Once it's verified, like I said, you can respond to those reviews. Be sure to be professional and polite, respond within a couple days at least. Don't use any of the responses to advertise. That usually, per statistics, turns people away. Be sure to thank them for their business and then address anything they say negatively as constructively as possible. And in those situations, you might want to ask, hey, will you reach out by email or a phone call so that way we can help you better? Some ways that you can ask for reviews from your customers is once you're on your profile, you can generate different links and you can share this via email. You can even do it through social media. Or you can even take that link and create a QR code, and then maybe you get like a little sign printed with it. If you need help with that, let us know. That's something that we can do too. And then that way you can build your Google reviews so that way people can understand the level of credibility that you have in your community. A quick tip for responding to messages. People can send you messages from Google Search and Maps, and never respond to anything that looks kind of spammy. So if they're like, oh, we need to update your credit card to keep your Google Map up to date, that's spam. That's fake. Don't do it. Don't misrepresent anything, don't make any claims, and then try to respond within 24 hours. This feature is turned off by default, so it's something you have to turn on because it's just like Facebook messages or anything else. They kind of track you, so they want to see that you're being active with your customer base. Last thing for this section is the performance reports. So you can actually look and see how many people are interacting with your profile. And you can even look at the specific sections. So like in this one, it's definitely a restaurant because they have a menu. They have food orders, so you can see how many people are looking at those. You can see how many click the call button. You can look at your messages. You can see how many people used your booking link. And you can even see how many people clicked the little map button and got directions to your business. And at any time, you can hit the three dots to do a couple different things. Some examples might be adding managers, setting notification preferences for different information. You can even add a new business profile. Maybe you opened a second location. And then you can access the help center or contact Google for more help with these different things. For basic stuff, the Warren County Chamber of Commerce can probably help you. So just reach out. As a Grow with Google partner, they give us some tools to do a couple things. So some next steps, make sure you have claimed or you have completely filled out your business profile. You need to make sure that profile is verified through phone, text, email, or a postcard. And you will notice that immediately when you go to pulling it up, it'll say it needs to be verified. And then if you have to wait for that verification, make sure you're just getting all that info up to date. And then once that profile is verified and created, set a calendar reminder maybe. We learned about that in the beginning, but you could do that. You could set a repeating reminder to check it, maybe every 3 to 6 months, make sure everything looks good, add new photos, different things, and then explore any performance reports and see, how people are using it, because it's a tool in your arsenal to grow your business. All right, so we're at the final bit of our presentation, and this is kind of going to wrap us up. So we have resources and our final thoughts. Google has a really amazing marketing kit. You might want to look into that. It'll help create custom posters, social posts, and different things using your reviews and updates from your business profile. And this is completely free, g.co/marketing kit. So be sure to look at that and see if it's helpful for you. Google has tons of different things on YouTube to learn and grow your business. You can find all of this at youtube.com/growwithgoogle. Google also does career certificates. This can be on all kinds of different things from IC reports to cybersecurity, project management. You can look at these at grow.google/certificates. Also, this is one of the examples of the webinars that we are doing right now is through google.com/grow. for local businesses. But there's tons of different resources on there for job seekers, teachers, small business owners, startups, and even developers like coders or people who create websites. So the final thing I need from everyone is, since this was paid for by a grant, I have to collect some statistics so I can use in my reporting. So if you can either A, scan the QR code, or someone I know is going to put the link in the chat. If you could click that out, click the link or scan the QR code and fill that out. So that way we can collect the data that we need to report to Rural List. It's not going to have any of your personal information in it. That's for us. We really just need those data metrics. And then at the end, you get to rate the education session. So if everyone can take a moment and let me know when you complete it, you can just hit thumbs up on the chat message. And then let me know if there's any questions about the content or anything else. I'm here for a bit and I can just help. Did this stop? All right, that went away. There we go. So yeah, before you leave, make sure we're getting the form filled out because we need all the data we can to help us get more funding to do more cool things. Is everyone getting into the survey? Cool, I got one response. I got 2 responses. I'm loading it on my phone so I can see when y'all fill it out.
I can't get into the survey, Jeffrey.
Okay. Let me see. I'm gonna get you a different link, okay?
Yeah, yes.
Do, do, do. Do, do. Okay, grab this. Select responses. Yep, well, that's good. Okay, try this one and see if it works. I just generated a new one.
Okay.
Does that one look better?
Yes, I got it.
Cool. All right, if y'all don't have any questions, just make sure we're getting the form filled out. I will email the form just in case you're just really busy and can't get to it right now. I'm going to email my handouts, which is going to kind of just help remind you about everything we talked about. Within the next 24 to 48 hours, I'm going to get this recording posted to YouTube. So I'll make sure we share that link with y'all as well, so you can go back and like review the info. I know for some people that helps. And then if y'all have any questions, especially on the things that I brought up, like, oh, well, we can help you if you need it, just be sure to let us know so that way we can do what we can. That's our goal always, to try to help and inform and do what is possible with the resources we have. So if there's no final questions, I am going to end the call. I did get a direct. So the Google My Business profile that we talked about, that is completely free. They don't charge you anything to use that or use any of its features. The only thing that we talked about today that was paid was Google Ads, but then you set the specific amount that you pay. So if your budget is only $30 or $40, you can set a budget that fits that criteria and just spend that. Like 90% of what we talked about today was just completely free things that you can do, completely free resources that you can use for everything. Yeah, even like Gmail and Google Calendar for a normal, just everyday person, that's completely free. Google does have some options if you want to use G Suite and like have a custom email. So like mine's Jeffrey@warrencoc.com. So you do have to pay for those, but they're very affordable. For example, G Suite plan for like a small business can run about $6 a month. So 6 times 12, I'm on the spot, so I can't do the math, like $72 a year. Any other questions? Yeah, so for a business starter plan with the full G Suite for everything, they cost about $6 a month, which would equal about $72 a year. And that's only if you needed like in a business address. So like if you want to, just like I said with mine, like Jeffrey@warrencoc.com. So since you're having like a business profile, that does cost money. But to use just normal Google features as a person, having for example, like my Gmail, it's my name and some numbers at gmail.com, that's completely free. All right, cool. Any other questions? If not, I'm going to hit the stop share button and I'm going to end the call. And when I do that, everyone's going to go back to whatever they have to do today. All right, cool. Well, we will see everyone later. Reminder, we have more sessions coming up. Next week is Canva. Then we're going to talk about Microsoft and Office 365. Then we're going to do some web design stuff. And then we're also going to talk about Facebook and Meta and their whole business suite. So we got a couple more topics coming up. Appreciate y'all guys. Hope y'all have a great day. Again, Jeffrey, Warren County Chamber of Commerce. Have a great day.